Hey y'all, it is Moonlight Cowboy, and today we're going to be learning how I did this build up here. This build is on the side of the monorail elevator. I, long time ago, did a build where I did one kind of that was on the side and also on the top. Essentially, the reason to build on the side of the monorail elevator structure here is because there's this little small room, this metal room that you can use to build into. And I know a lot of other people have done this. Hero Cunning has a legendary build that's been up here before. And there's others that have also built on the side of this. So this is a great little spot. And I don't normally do that because usually you have to be a little scrappier for it. I'm more of a clean builder. However, I decided that today I was going to do a build up here. So now I'm going to show you how it is done. I think it came out actually quite good. I'm pleasantly surprised with how it came out. But we'll see what you think. And I don't think this one's super hard. But first you're going to need a few blueprints. So on this first one, this one is a special blueprint that I made specifically for this build. It's pretty easy to do, but you need to follow it strictly, meaning that this other wall where we're going to put this wall item on right here, make sure that it's wallpaper side facing away from the other wall. Trust me on this, it's going to make it a lot easier. You want these walls basically looking exactly the way they do right here. It gives just the right amount of space on the structure. Now with that prefaced, all we need is the roof, which I use the glass roof for this, but you can use any roof. I'll show you why later. A catwalk at the bottom, the wall itself, and then the wall item on the opposite side. And the reason being is right here, bam, I'll be able to stick this onto the side of that monorail elevator. The next one, this one's pretty easy. This is just the stair post blueprint, and it's just two items, two stair posts, and then the small camp item. This one's a really easy one to do. You won't need this when they come out with the new relaxed building update, but it's still nice to have for now. This next one that we're doing is going to be a variation of the catwalk blueprint. So what I'm doing is I'm adding a catwalk to a half wall and then a small catwalk. And then at this point, it could be too medium, too large, a medium, and a large, which is what I'm doing. That part doesn't matter as much. I'll show you why here in a minute. So from here, I'm going to add a half wall, attach a wall item like so, and then I'm going to blueprint the wall item, and then not the catwalk directly under, but then the two further away. Okay. And this way I'll be able to easily place some free place catwalks. And as you'll see from the build when we do it, I have a whole pathway that I use for this. So easy peasy. Then the next one here is this bridge blueprint. So in order to make this, and I have tutorials on all this stuff from before, this is just for ease of use, just add a foundation version of the bridge. Now you have to blueprint this in order. Ready? Small camp item, bridge partition that's furthest away, and bridge partition that's closest to you. And the reason for this is that when you're doing a blueprint like this, when you go to remove part of the bridge, the last one that you blueprinted will be the one that remains. So if I'd not done it that way, and I tried to remove the one that was closer to me, then they both would have been deleted instead of losing one. Otherwise, that one's pretty easy to do as well. And this last one's just simply that you will need to blueprint each form of wall that you have. It doesn't have to be every wall, but wall shape. So, for this build specifically, if you're trying to duplicate this exact one, I did a small wall, a half wall, full wall, these fascia walls, and then I did some of the slant walls, these guys right here. So the top arch, I should say. And I just blueprint one of each shape. Now I already have these blueprinted, so I'm not going to go through and show you like, oh yeah, and this is how I hit the blueprint button for each one of these. As you see, I used a different wall for mine, but I have them right there. And I always keep them for this purpose. Pretty soon we won't need it. And now we go back to my old friend, the monorail elevator, which I have built at countless times. But again, I haven't done the room very often. So this is still going to be pretty exciting for me. I do enjoy building up here. For those of you who've watched my channel, it is my favorite place to build. I just place my camp device inside here, and that makes it super easy. From here, one key piece is where I place this guy right here. This is my marker. So remember when I said earlier when I was making that blueprint, that I use the glass roofs for a specific purpose. That way I can line it up with that marker perfectly. I know it's kind of hard to see because it's dark, but when I do that, then I know that this roof, this wall, everything that's here is actually going to be perfectly centered with that room. And I will show you why that's important in just a moment. First though, I'm going to show you the basically two ways of doing this. I'm going to show you the easier way, and then I'm also going to delete almost everything you see here and do a harder way. But if you notice there, see how I have that roof like that? That way it looks like it's going to be cantilever support for that wall and what I'm essentially creating, which is like a room, right? But if you look right there, that roof goes directly into that room. You have a little step down, but you don't have to worry about any kind of hanging up. You step through it just fine. Now this is why this has to be perfect. You see how close that doorway is on both sides? It's perfectly centered. And now because of the way that I did that, I can just place that door no problem, open and shut, and this will be the basis for the entire build. Now, if you wanted to create your own thing over here, which I always encourage people to do, you don't have to follow the next steps in this. You've essentially created the room itself, and you've created a tiny little space, and then you can kind of make it your own, right? And that's why I did that part first. And then also, if you wanted to enclose it right there, I added an angled roof, and then I kind of flattened it. I'm destroying it. Now I'm going to add a flat roof, and as you'll see, I'll be able to do both. You'll still need this for when they come out with the Relax Building update. You will still need to be able to place roofs this way. So, but anyways, yeah, and then I could just add little walls on the side, the fascia walls and stuff to kind of enclose that space a little bit, and then it look like it's its own tiny little compartment room. But as you see, I'm removing all of that, because I need this to be extra special and I want a little more space out front. So we're not going to just do it basic. What I'm doing here is I'm doing basically a snake, what I call a snake with the catwalks. And this gives me a half wall differential, or not half, half of a wall width differential. And this way I can split up those walls, as you'll see here in a second. Like so. And I'm already getting my roofs in place. Now, if you run into a situation like that where, notice I wasn't able to place it, it went red. I can flatten this roof here, and it might be a little bit of a pain to get in, but you should still be able to snap it in, like so. So sometimes just because you're going at an angle, try going in at a different angle and you'll find success. And that is not the way we wanted to go. We wanted to go the other way. Let's see if I got it right that time, and I did. And doing this and having it go in the right way now will save me time in the end. This way I can have my cantilever support. Now, if you notice, I'm doing this V trick that you saw before, and I'll explain that a little bit more. I'm basically raising the floors by a half wall height by doing that angle, which will give me just enough room underneath to be able to add my flooring in here that I'm going to have. Like so. And so I basically have double roofed with a half wall difference in height. And by doing this, I've created enough space for this cantilever support to actually make sense. See? And now it's a little bit more space walking out front, and this will give me an outdoor social area. That's kind of my plan right now. So now I'm just going to go ahead and add my walls. The first ones I'm going to add are the top arch walls. But I'm also putting, if you notice, I put that stair post there. That stair post is a placeholder that we're going to use here in a little bit. And then here is my top arch wall. Going back to that stair post that I placed, notice I placed it going away from the build. You notice the way the catwalks were. You'll see why that actually really paid off for me here in a moment. But another thing I want you to notice is that I'm going out about an extra small catwalk away with those little top arch walls, and that's so that way I could flip them back in, and then it's wallpaper side out. This isn't necessary for you. You don't have to do this, but I wanted to do this so that way I had more options for wallpaper when I was ready to church up this build and it was all said and done. There we go. Yeah, see, so because I did that, I have the wallpaper side out on both those sides. And now I'm going to destroy those. I'll end up destroying them a bunch of times. Some of it is needless, by the way, so you could just leave them destroyed. But I end up fixing them and destroying them a few times just to see where I was at. So from here, if you noticed, I added a roof. I'm destroying that roof. I'm basically doing the same trick I did before. I did the flat wall, and now I'm going to snap another roof here. And this one's going to be flat anyway, so it doesn't matter how I snap it on. And I now have that same roof support above. It'll be like a little canopy that goes over the front door. And now I can repair those again. Again, you'll see I'll end up destroying them a few times. But I just wanted to make sure it looked good. Now I'm going to destroy everything again. I really need to use something other than a bow for this. I mean, it's got to be suspenseful for you guys. Oh my god, how long is it going to take this man to friggin' break that stupid wall? Okay, notice what I was saying about using those going sideways with that stairs post. Because of the way I placed it, I can just keep adding catwalks. And essentially what I'm doing with these posts, I'm doing an old Aquanova style trick where, I'm going to have a little room divider with them. And I'll be able to put 5 of them there. And that'll add a little bit of just nobody can really walk through it, but it also gives it an open air feel to it, which I like. I don't try to overuse those very much because they do, after a while it gets a little tacky. But I think for a little frontage like that, I think that looks really nice. Now I can just go ahead and change my fascias. Now the thing about these fascia walls is you can change the angle of which so right there, notice I flipped them around, and all I did was I modified them to go the other way. It was really easy to do. And now I can see how they're wallpapered on each side. Now I'm just free placing a couple of stairs posts on the side of that wall in the where the doorway is. And the reason for that is just so that way it's not just a wall sitting there. And it kind of matches with the stairs posts that I'm already using. But with this blueprint, it does have, the little notch in the middle. So I want to get rid of that. And what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to add these big ones on the top here. Then I can remove these little ones. And then I can just slap some of the longer ones there, and it won't have the notch in the middle. Plus, it'll be a little bit more budget friendly, right, to not have those. The 4, we now have 2 instead of 4, and I think it looks better. Yeah, and that's nice and matchy too. And that's how that looks. So, for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the inside, and I'm going to do the manual double wall, which basically means I'm going to free place a wall. And then I'm going to free place another wall on top of it and make sure it's perfect. You could do the double wall blueprint here. I think I accidentally deleted it on this character or something. But either way, You can basically free place walls in here, and they go the length of the room, essentially, or the width of the room. And what I'm basically partitioning off this room, so I have a little mini bathroom in here. If you've noticed, almost all my builds have bathrooms in them. You know, I feel like that's a necessary component to a place of living. And I am just trying to edge this wall to be exactly as close to the other wall as humanly possible. I did. Cool. Get rid of my duck. Always clean up your ducks, because if you don't, you'll start decorating and then you'll be finding ducks everywhere, and then you'll always wonder if there was a duck out there that you didn't get rid of. And now I'm just going to double wall that to something else for the time being. Cool. And I'll be able to slap a door on there no problem as well, as we see right here. Awesome. Alright, so now I have my room partitioned out, and I can come back to that later. Next thing we're going to use is that blueprint, the bridge blueprint. I'm going to get it as close to the structure as I can, and then place it. I'm going to do it for both sides. Now, a little fun fact about this that we will find later as well is this blueprint, once you place it, it actually rests on the angled roof underneath. And that's important, because we'll be able to destroy that angled roof later on if we need to, like, get rid of the bridge temporarily so we can put things into place, because the bridge is a little bit awkward when it comes to trying to place things. So you'll see in a little bit, it's pretty cool. Just go ahead and get rid of that one piece, and then I'm going to do the same for the other side here. Just getting it as close as I can to the structure. Now, you can sometimes place items that are red, as you will see in a moment. Get rid of that duck. You can place items that are red as long as, often as long as it doesn't have like an error message next to it. See that it's still red? I should still be able to place this thing right here. No, gotta be a little closer. A little closer, a little bit further away from the structure itself. A little gentle touch. There we go. So notice I was able to place that even though it was red. I just want to make sure that it's straight and even with the structure, because once I start building around it, then it's kind of too late to change it. And so far this looks really cool though. I like the way that this is turning out. At this moment when I was doing this build, this is when I realized that I had a lot of budget left. If you notice, I've barely used any budget over there on this build. I'm like, man, I want to use all of my budget. I really feel like when I don't use all my budget, I feel like there were missed opportunities. So this is where that other blueprint came from, the one I did with the catwalks earlier. I'm doing it over here on the fly. I didn't think about it until I needed it. So often I'll do blueprints like you see here, kind of in the sky. But I'm doing basically the same thing that I did in the beginning of the video, and this is why. I'm going to get as close to the top to meet that bridge as possible, and as close to the structure as possible. And then what I can do is I can destroy that little fascia wall, and I can kind of snap another one into it like so. So that way it looks fluid. It looks like it completes the journey and there's no gaps between the floor there. Now the next thing I'm going to do here, knowing that we're going to expand out, is I'm just creating a platform for me to be able to work on. It's going to mirror the other one from over there. This way I know it's the perfect height on both sides. So essentially just created like a little roof platform, walked it over to the other side, and now I have this roof platform here. And I'm going to clean up my mess, because that's what they say. Like, if you're going to play with it, you got to clean it up, right? And even as an adult, that's still burned into my memory. So, just like with the other side, I'm creating this fascia, or I'm sorry, not fascia, this cantilever support underneath. Sometimes, though, you're going to find this little error. You're like, it's turning green, but it's not letting me place it. Sometimes that's going to be an issue with the roof above it. So you can always try destroying it like that. Make sure you hit it with your arrow instead of missing it blindly like an idiot. Like I just did. And then from there, I see that I angled it up correctly. You kind of have that little that little effect right there. And then you can flatten the other roof. And now I have my other platform. And I could just add the fascia walls. I didn't show that on the other side, but it's really that easy. It's just adding them. When you're adding those walls, make sure you're just adding them from the blueprint menu, and it'll make it a lot easier for you. And then from here, notice I'm kind of making sure that that bridge is in a perfect spot. I'm using that bottom line down there. You see where I'm like evening it out. Now it's perfect, and I can place it. And I added that other roof too, so that way the little ducky had a place to sit. Because I wanted it to be perfectly on that platform. And just like before, I can destroy this fascia wall right here and add another catwalk through it. So that way there's no light gaps there. I'm actually going to go with a slightly bigger one because I don't want that gap. And it'll snap right through. This also does another thing. So with these catwalks being here, that now also becomes my landing spot for where I fast travel at. So if you don't use catwalks or stairs and you build up to a spot like this, you're going to say, Moon, I keep spawning on the ground and I have to take the walk of shame all the way over through the monorail elevator to get here again. And it's because you didn't place any like spawn points. You need catwalk or you need stairs to use your spawn points. And this is just me showing you that even I struggle by putting a simple fence down, but I did it. Now I'm going to add another stairs post on each side here just to kind of break up the monotony of that space there. I will also use that as like a little mini lamp post that I'll make. And I'm going to use a lot of warm lighting on this, so I've got to be mindful of that too. So these stairs posts will hold up that lighting a lot better. And then up next, I put down a couple of decor items just to see what that looked like. I also put these foot lockers down for steps right there to get on top to like the bridges. Make it a little easier to get up and down because there is like a step up on those. Now for the next fun part. Notice I still have just an absolute ton of budget. So I want to use that up. And one of my favorite ways to use up budget on these tiny builds like this is by making a crane. So as I'm fumbling around with this, what you're going to see is I'm going to basically be raising up my roof structure here little by little because we're going to create the like lift part of the crane first. And then from there, we'll create another platform where we will have, like the crane will be supporting said items. First, I'm just getting rid of like the roof items, except for the one that I have out yonder. And that way it's like clean for me to work with.
Let's first learn how sounds are produced on conventional musical instruments.
The way that I'm raising this is I'm basically angling it like so, and then moving the item up. Then I'm flattening it, moving the flat one up, and then angling that. And then I keep doing this and I can get to the height that I need for like what I want to do at least. Alright, so go up a little bit more, and then I think that's going to be a good height for this. There we go. Can I get one more in there? Yes, I can. Perfect. So that gap that you see down below on the catwalk, that is essentially going to be like the like onboarding or offboarding of this this crane thing that I'm making. And because I have limited space where I can build, I'm going to build out using conduits. So I'm going to line these up, and like I'm showing you the short version, it took me a while to make sure they were perfectly aligned. And then what I'm doing is I'm adding a couple little bars out of the way here, kind of as placeholders, just in case, because I'm going to eventually need to get rid of this roof. Now I also know that I want these to be a little bit more narrow, and also that this thing, the monorail structure, is going to interfere with me putting them into place. So I'm going to like make these more narrow, and how I'm going to do that is I'm going to use these little curved ones here in a second. Yeah, these guys right here. Kind of like I would have done with that catwalk trick you saw earlier. And I can kind of, they're still the same spacing, they're still going the right way and all the things. But now I can just, now they're just going to be spaced a little closer together. I can remove the other ones. All that work just to get these two little these two little conduits to sit in place. Once those are removed, I can start actually working on building out from that. And then from there, it's just using your imagination to make some kind of pulley system using like conduits and wires. What I'm doing now, if you notice, I did that same, like creating a space under there, and I free placed a wall to be right in between that area with the, where I have that space for the crane. And I'm just going to use that as, if you notice right there, get that'll be a little lower. I'm using this space here to be where my lift is going to be at. And I'm using this little catwalk trick here to get it that much closer, right? And so I used like a quarter length catwalk to bring my wall out a little bit closer. And notice now it's like really close to that spot. And so if you see here, I kind of have the catwalk thing started. I keep wanting to say catwalks for these things. Dang it. Okay. Conduits, catwalks. Conduits, catwalks. Big breath. Okay. I think I got this. So now, if you notice, I'm putting these conduits down. See, I did it. And I'm just making sure that the spacing on these are going to be correct. I can also use this as a time to see how far out I want my the conduits up there to go out, because it needs to look like it's hanging, right? So it can't be that close. But we're going to place the wires anyhow for now, just to make sure that it's where they need to be. And I'm just going to move that one in like the other one there. And then once I got the spacing there correct, I can then go and move the ones on the actual roof piece, which will end up being my like elevator platform, to make sure that they're going to be correct. And that works for me too, because I'm going to end up putting fencing on that. Yeah, that came out actually pretty all right. And now I can change it to like say the abandoned roof set, and I can go ahead and put my like little barbed wire fence railings on it. So, and then put one that's like a little bit gated right there. There. And then I can just slap some things in there like generators and boxes and what have you. So it looks like it's an actual like pulley system with a motor. Now I'm going to add that warm lighting, as you saw. I set up a generator, but I'm going to show you how I did it. If you have the utility generator, it'll be a lot easier. You won't have to do it the way that I did. I have it, but I'm showing it for those of you who don't have the utility generator here in a second. First, I'm going to add a few lights, and I want to see how far out my power goes, basically. So up in here, we can put a generator up inside of the structure, which I just did. And then I can add a few wires to it and conduits off to the side there. So then it's going to give me power wherever I need it. Now again, if you have the utility generator, not a biggie. You could just use that. This is for everybody who doesn't have that generator. Because there are those people. They're like, oh darn it, I didn't get it. Or I don't have the atoms. And that's fine too. I give all of my money to Bethesda, so that way you don't have to. Buy only the things you need. Oh, that's weird. There's a knock on my door. Oh my god. It's the Bethesda secret police, and they're here to take me away because I told you not to spend all of your money with them. I'm just kidding. Bethesda's fine. I like Bethesda. Bethesda, hey, I'm still waiting for your phone call, by the way, if you're listening. One day. I know it's been 6 years, but I love you. All right, so if you notice, now all I'm doing here is I'm making another roof like platform. And this is just for ease of use to put my lighting down where I need it. Notice I'm putting those lights there, and I also flatten that roof over there. There's a reason for that as well, because I want all of the lighting. I've got all of the budget. We're going to spend it all for this build. You won't see it all, but I will spend it all. So now what I'm going to do, again, flatten those guys instead of making them angled. Oh, I had a catwalk hidden up in there. We'll go ahead and get rid of that. That was before I had my other catwalk, so I had one hidden away. And so as you see now, I can place these lights in here too. Because even though you won't see the lights themselves, you'll see the lighting action of them. And I think that that's going to add a little extra je ne sais quoi. Like so. And that'll reflect off of the structure very nicely. We're going to do it with the other side too here in a second. But I want you to notice something right up there. Notice that that bridge disappeared, the bridge piece. Remember I said that earlier? This is going to come in handy real quick. You'll get to see that right here up close. I hit it, that whole bridge disappeared, and I repair it, and it comes back. It happens on all sides. So this is why this is going to come in handy. And depending on what you build here, you might not need this trick, but for me it came in a lot handy. In handy. Does that big and handy? That almost sounds really bad. So my apologies for the kids watching. Parents, I promise I'm still fairly kid friendly. Okay, so because I was able to delete that out of existence for temporarily, I was able to put this blacksmith sign here because I thought it looked a little hokey up on the structure itself. And I think this will add a little bit to that fence, see? And now I don't have to worry about the things that were in the way of it. It kind of merges in. Now it's time for this bad mamma jamma. So this thing is very wieldy to get in. Obviously, we're going to destroy that thing again. And now I can technically place it here. But it's not going to be as close as I want it to be. I can already tell you, I'm going to give you like a quick insight into the future. But I can technically place it right there. But I recognize how far off it is. And I kind of want it to go the other way too. That way. So in order to do that, there's one really simple, low tech trick I can use to make this happen. And that is with a mat. So what we're going to do, I'm going to create yet another roof platform out here. You got to do these things when you don't have space on the ground to work. I'm placing a mat. I'll end up moving that around. Notice the mat is still there. And I can pick up this whole thing with that mat. And I will now have an easier placement with the structure or with the that workbench. Notice how easy I can place this thing now. I've got room for days. It's just now it's a matter of alignment. And I get as close to that fence and as close to the structure as I can. And then when I hit repair all, or at least repair that piece of the roof, it sits right in there. Look at that. And this makes sense for a blacksmithing area. I end up churching that up with a lot of lights and decor too. But we'll see that here right now. So now that that's destroyed, again, I want warm lighting everywhere. And I don't want any real dark zones. I can put these little oil lamps in here, and they give off that really nice warm lighting, like the cage bulbs. If you're curious as to what gives off warm lighting and like clean lighting, I do have a lighting tutorial, which I think is great. But you know, of course, it's me, so I hope that I would think it was great. I will say that Nuka Violet came out with one before me, and hers is still very legendary, so I do recommend checking hers out as well. Look at both of them. I mean, hell, you've got nothing but time, right? Just look at all the tutorials out there. Support us all. We love you. Thank you. And so if you notice, I double merged, triple merged a bed. Basically, two of those like beds that give off that nice little fog. I think they're like the enclave beds, and then I have that little Mothman canopy bed. They fit in really well together. Now I'm going to put a rug in here just so it's already in place to break up like the floor and make it look a little bit like more decorated. That's a little key trick, and I said it in a few videos. If you have an area that looks under decorated, slap a rug down. It'll help. It'll fill up a lot of space. Break up the monotony of the room. And essentially just getting the bed to be as close to the structure as possible while also being on the rug. By the way, if you haven't noticed by now, we're already done with like the structural portion of this build. So if like you're like Moonlight, I already know how to decorate. This is a good time to like not watch anymore, sadly. But I'm going to show you some of my decor tips because I don't always go through those with these camps, and I feel like I should do a better job of that. So kind of like in the beginning, I did those blueprints. Normally, I would just be like, "Hey, go watch like 9 of my tutorials, and you'll get it." Yeah, I'm making an effort to make it a little easier for some people to watch because I do still get a lot of questions. With the relaxed building, I feel like that's going to come to an end to an extent, but I am going to make it easier for you as best of my abilities. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do here are these tables. This was really easy to do, and this is like a low-key way for you to like make the room space look a little bit more custom. All I did was just merge them together. That's it. And I made them like maybe like a 25% taller. Little tricks like this will make your place look more custom, even with an item that's been like, you know, beat to death, like the primitive nightstand table thing here. But like that gives it a little bit more texture in the front, and I like it. I do like this item a lot. I make fun of it because I use it all the time, but I use it all the time, so I must like it. Yeah, it came out looking pretty good. At least it's different, right? And because of the spacing, it'll fit perfectly on both sides of my bed. Bam. All right. Do that again one more time. These are the easy, like, all right, I'm gonna level with you guys. I like building structures a lot more than I like doing the decor side of things. I do the decor side of things because it comes with building the structure. It's like I get to eat my steak first, but then I have to eat all my veggies. That's what decorating is like for me. But if you notice, I often fall back on a lot of similar tricks because I'm like, oh, that worked last time, I'll just do it here as well. So it is a little bit challenging for me to come up with new ways to kind of reinvent the wheel when it comes to decor. But when I do like to share those out. This is one where I was like, I don't even know if I've done this before. I think I have, but in a different way. Like maybe it was stacked where it was a little taller. But either way, those are the nightstands that I ended up using for this. And I promise you things are going to go a lot faster than this here in a second. Alright, as promised, they're going a lot faster for you. Notice I even kicked on fast mode. That's an easy one. I double merge the sink, and then I'm merging it into this cabinet. Now you're probably thinking, well, Moon, you're doing the merge in the back, and the back is going to be sticking out, so it looks stupid. And you're right. But When you see what what I do with it, it'll make sense. And that doesn't change the fact that I probably am not as smart as I'm not the smartest man. So I'm gonna destroy this thing. It's gonna remove everything but that counter, like the destroyed part of that counter, and I can easily just place a counter inside of it. They're very friendly to like place inside of each other, as long as I'm not trying to place them inside of the structure. All right. And now I have a bathroom sink. I'll slap a mirror up there. Slap one of those guys. I love these toilet paper holders. I will never use the like the incorrect way of putting the toilet paper in style. Just so you know, if you're looking for that, I don't see a scenario where I'd ever do that because it annoys the ever-living heck out of me. Now I'm putting down some mats. I do this trick in every camp. I think it adds a little bit of extra to that floor space down there. I love this trick. But, like, I mean, I'm one that in my bathroom I have floor mats. So I also have this belief, too, that, like, and this isn't a knock on the people that are, like, the scrappy immersive builders, but I believe that we build, like, the kind of place that we like to live. At least I do. Okay, so I'm not going to speak for the entire building community. I build clean because I live like I'm pretty OCD when it comes to like my life. Anyways, that's a little bit about me. Probably oversharing there. But now I'm putting this mirror up. I had that towel rack up, and now I lost my mirror. I'm just gonna center it with that line up there, and now I have the mirror just about in place. See that little line up there? I'm gonna just make sure that that's centered because that's gonna be center of the room. And now I can add my towel rack back. I promise we're almost done with the stuff I'm going to show you today, and then you can kind of make it your own. There's just some like ways that I work around these things. I put a little box in here because I didn't want it to just be a little toilet. I end up lining that with a bunch of like little bottles and succulents and stuff. It's pretty easy. This is one that I definitely wanted to share with you though, okay? So I'm going to do something really crazy with this thing, okay? First of all, I have this cappy clapper, and those feet are going to end up being handles. I've done this before, but what you're going to see how I use this thing is kind of insane. And it's nothing like I didn't come up with this like next level 1000 IQ move. It's just the way that the game allowed me to do this. So I'm going to merge this thing down super fast, right? Because that's how I roll. I'm going to add these little lights up to this thing, to these little like row of succulents, I think is what they're called. I'm going to merge those down. I'm going to place them on top of that thing once I have it done on both of them. Up here, right? Do the same for that one. Notice I count the clicks on those two, or maybe you don't notice, but whenever I'm doing things like that, I usually count the clicks. So I merge that down a couple of times. One more. One more. Alright, this is the crazy part. So that is a metal piece of the structure, but for some reason I'm able to place items through it if I'm really careful with it. Now, this is the important part. If you decide to do this, notice I'm making sure that it's on the edge of that rug here in a second. See how it pops up? You will never be able to access this again unless it's on top of the rug. It'll be stuck in there forever. So if I needed to, I could pull out the rug and this would come with it. But you can place an item into that metal right there, and that looks like a total built-in effect. And that is the entirety of the tutorial. I thought that this came out really cool. This isn't like my traditional style. This is more of like a cozy, rustic. It's still got some clean elements, but it's not like a super clean build like I normally do. Hopefully you enjoyed this style. Hopefully you enjoyed this build. I know a lot of people do think about building up here and are looking for ways to do that aren't super complicated like most of the ways that I build up here. Yeah, there were some complicated parts to this, but I don't feel like it was overly complicated. I feel like anybody could do this. Truly, anybody could do this build with just knowing some basic blueprinting. And with the Relaxed Building update coming out, you won't even need a lot lot of those blueprints. Like the bridge you won't need, the catwalks you won't need. You'll still need to use catwalks to space things, but anyways, story for another time. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay blessed, have a great day, and stay safe out there.